Hello. It's Dakota because it's Wednesday. Well, actually, right now it's Tuesday. Um, but I make my videos a day early. Now you know my secret. Um, so today we're talking about what it's like to be a person of color and trans, or for people who are not of color, what they do to be an ally to a person of color who is also trans and stuff like that. So I identify as a person of color because I am one. I'm actually biracial. My mom is white. She's Irish. My dad is Native American. Apache, if you want to know my tribe for some reason. Um, Growing up, I didn't identify as biracial. I identified as white because, as I said in my first video that I ever made for this lovely channel, I liked to ignore the whole part of me that came from my father. Up until only a couple years ago, maybe, I identified as just white. Growing up, like when I was a kid, people would, kids are mean. They would be like, oh, you're adopted, stuff like that. And who would even care if I was, but whatever. And they would be like, are you adopted, stuff like that. And it was because my mom looks a lot lighter than I do, and my dad looks a lot darker than I do. So it made me kind of feel like I didn't fit in anywhere, which I really didn't, but whatever. So that kind of sucked. I kind of didn't pay attention to it, but it did suck. In my teens, like when I was in high school, I identified as white. Then I realized I was trans, and it sucked even more because I felt like, I don't fit in with the white people because I'm not completely white. I don't fit in with the Native American people because I'm not completely Native American. I don't fit in with the trans guys because I'm kind of feminine. I don't fit in with the cis guys because I'm not cis. So what the fuck am I? Where do I go? And it's still I don't like it because I still feel like that sometimes. Not usually, because usually I'm like, why do I have to fit in anywhere? Who gives a shit? But sometimes it sucks not to have anybody understand what I'm talking about or what I'm going through. And, I know I have people to support me, but unless you're in my shoes, you're not going to understand. And that sucks. And it's not your fault, and that's nobody's fault. So don't feel bad, but I don't know. For me, since I started identifying as biracial, and since I started identifying as male, I have I've noticed so much more than I did before. Racism and sexism and cissexism. Not even just among people I know, just everywhere, like the media, just on the street, everywhere. And it sucks because it's overwhelming for me because it's like I'm going through all these changes and then I have this white person, no offense to white people, but I have this white person telling me how hard it is to be white. And it kind of I don't know, it sucks, because I would kill to be just white. I honestly would, and I think a lot of people would, because you rank above people for no other reason than just being white. And that's okay. It's not okay, but it's okay if you acknowledge it, because that's not your fault. And I promise, if you start acknowledging it, and you start saying, to yourself, maybe I should, check my privilege a little bit, that's a good way to start being an ally to someone of color, and especially someone of color who is trans. Because if you can check your privileges of being cis, it would just make it a lot easier for dudes like me, or, you know, girls who are in my situation or whatever, you know. And I don't think there's anything wrong with being white, so don't even go there. Like, don't. I'm not attacking anybody for being white. I'm not attacking anybody for being cis. That's not your fault. It's not even a bad thing. I don't mind it at all. I like it, actually. I'm just saying I would like to be you. 'Cause it must be a little bit easier to go through life without someone calling you a racial slur when they get pissed off at you, and you know, calling you you know, a transphobic slur when they get pissed off at you. And sometimes they mix them together, and that's just a fun time. I don't know. I've been like really trying to deal with this a lot better lately, because it didn't used to bother me. But then something snapped in my brain because someone said something really rude to me. And I was like, wow. Like, I never thought I had a problem. Like, I never thought anybody was racist towards me ever. But all this time, so many people were racist towards me, and I never noticed it. It's just like, you know, now when they do it, I get really pissed off. I even had to remake this video because I was thinking about it, and I got pissed off. I was, like, screaming into the, like, microphone, and I don't want to scream at anybody. I don't know. I can't say much else, because my experience is that it kind of sucks being trans and a person of color. That's my experience. I'm not saying it's like that for everybody else. And I'm not saying everybody who is a person of color thinks the same way I do. They probably, you know, might not even affect some people, but it's affecting me. And that might be because, you know, I ignored a half of myself until I was like, you know, 19. I don't know, but that's just my experience. If you have any other questions, let me know. I might add something onto this later when I think about it, but anyway, have a great week, I guess. I'll see you next week.